Hey YouTube, if you're clicking on this video, you are either a very loyal supporter, which I appreciate the support, or you are new to the channel and are looking for some top teams to grind GBL rating and try and hit Legend this season. So welcome, hit that subscribe button if you're new. And what we are going to do is go over very quickly the top rankings, but mostly go over the teams because it is greatly goes on last week. The rankings have not changed for like 2 seasons now because there's very little change in the meta this season. A couple things nerfed a little bit, but overall it is very much the same meta. And because of that, there are teams that have worked in the past that you're going to see that are still working now. And for those of you who are either not new or old to the channel, stay tuned to the end because I've got a story about how I'm grinding. I just hit veteran. We're grinding with the team. I'll give you a little hints about what I'm using. So, rankings. Okay, the rankings are basically the same, right? We have It's so funny because Registeel and Carbink are 1 and 2, yet those are what I see far less of than most of the stuff below it. What you will see in this meta: Skarmory, Annihilate. I'm seeing a decent amount of Mantines. Bastiodon is the go-to over Carbink right now. For Alligator, Gligar, Quagsire, Lickitung, Mandibuzz, Azumarill. Not as many Swamperts. Most people are still, even though Whiscash Scald got nerfed, they're still choosing Whiscash. Some Empoleon, but for Alligator, again, the Shadow one is better. Clodsire, and then when we get down here, some like Lantern, Vigoroth, Goodra. I've got a couple Dragons. So very much a meta that you're not surprised to see. So let's start with team number 1 because I just showcased this team. And a subscriber from my channel said, I hit Legend with Lantern, Double Dragon, Goodra, and Guzzlord multiple times in multiple seasons. So I used it last season and it worked okay. I didn't love Lantern. So I tried a new front lead Pokemon and I didn't find a front lead Pokemon I liked. I tried Steel because you're weak to Ice in the back and you're weak to Fairy in the back. Goodra is your safe swap, but Thunder Punch makes it much better. Not much better, but it gives that nice coverage. So I tried Skarmory first, but then like you have a problem with steals. So then I tried Toxicroak because it's half poison, so it's neutral to Fairy, but I went up against the Fairy and it was too much. And then I tried Tentacruel, and same other thing. Something like Registeel could be a little bit of a problem. Someone in the comments when I posted this video suggested Skeledirge or Typhlosion, and that's an interesting one. Skeledirge, I think, would be better because you have Guzzlord in the back, which is weak to fighting. So a Skeledirge as a fire resists ice and resists the fairy, and it can deal with those. Plus, it can deal with the steals that the back may have a problem with. So if I were to run this team again, I would probably try Skeledirge in the lead. I think that is actually a very good idea. This is just a double flyer team. This is a subscriber double flyer team, but I have used the double flyer with Skarmory and Gligar multiple times with success. Again, I don't think I made that strategy, but it's a strategy that I've definitely used multiple times. Double flyer works very well as long as one is Gligar because it resists the electric, which Skarmory takes super effective against, and you have coverage for steals with the dig on Gligar. So plus it does generally well against some of the main meta, right? Because you have like Mud Boys with the fast move of Mudshot resisted. You have a lot of fighters in Annihilate and Medi and stuff, which you do super effective against them. So it's a really good strategy. They use Goodra. I've seen this strategy used with Annihilate as the other one. Instead of Goodra, use Annihilate because it'll help you deal with, like, again, Skarmory will have problems with steals. And Gligar can hit them with the digs, but your still wing attack is resisted. So something like a Annihilate with a counter user is probably better than a Goodra. If I were going to run that team. This was a subscriber who used Shadow Typhlosion, Shadow Quagsire, and then Crest. So basically, this strategy is a two glassy, hard-hitting Pokemon with a bulky safe swap to just absorb the damage. They kind of cover each other's weakness, like Quagsire's only weakness is grass, and obviously Typhlosion will deal with grass. Crest's safe swap. Basically, the strategy is to lead Typhlosion, Thunder Punch and Blast Burn everything super quickly because Incinerate Charge is so quick. And then use shields there, use shields on Quagsire, and then combo those, and then Crest sort of as a safe swap, or the third Pokemon just acts as a sort of like a third shield and just absorbs the damage. This one's mine. Trevenant, Dugong, Carbink. And this was me testing 3 Pokemon that I thought were going to be very good in the meta. Hint, one of these 3 is on the team that I'm running with right now. So it is basically cover your weaknesses with a safe swap, right? Trevenant is weak to Dark. It is weak to Fire. Carbink will deal with Dark and Fire. Carbink is weak to Water and Grass. Trevenant will deal with Grass. Dugong, safe swap. So that is basically how the team works. So you can go check out that video if you want more information. This was a subscriber previous legend who played near perfect with this team. You do have a glaring weakness in the back. You're double weak to Ghost and you're double weak to Dark in the back. Now, Crest and Wobbuffet are so tanky that you can like offset some of those issues. And again, from if you're weak to Dark perspective, Wobbuffet has counter. So it's not the worst case scenario there. And Crest is very, very bulky. So they're both very bulky in the back, and then Gligar on the lead. Again, if you're running something like this, being weak to Ghost and Dark, you might want to run like they use Gligar, which is fine. Gligar is a super, super strong Pokemon in this meta, but you might want to use something that can deal with a Ghost and Dark, in particular, like maybe like a Scrafty. Because Scrafty was just a Ghost and hit super effective with the Darks with the counters. So something like that if you want to truly cover your weaknesses. But Gligar, again, Gligar is just so good and generally safe in this meta that it could be okay. For Alligator, Annihilate, Skarmory, I called this my all buff team from the last couple seasons. Although Annihilate never got buffed, but it just came in hot, right? So for Alligator, got buffed with the Shadow Claw, became instant meta with that Shadow Claw and Hydro Cannon combo. Skarmory got buffed with Steel Wing, became back to the top again. If you were around in season 1 and 2 in GBL, Skarmory was a top 5 Pokemon in Great League, and then it fell down the rankings forever, and now it is right back up near the top, as you saw on the board, number 3 actually. So again, cover for Alligator, Skarmory, cover each other's. No, they do not. It covers your Grass weakness for Alligator. You are double weak to Electric. So from this perspective, if you want to better cover the Grass and Electric on this team, I remember saying this in my video too, go with Gligar instead of Skarmory. So Gligar in the back, plus Gligar is weak to Water, and for Alligator can deal with most waters, although you don't have a charge move for it, so it's a little trickier, but you can work around. And then Annihilate is your safe swap. So I was talking about how Annihilate just came in so strong. And it's one of those Pokemon that's like balanced in an unbalanced way, if that makes sense. Because there's nothing, you can't point to one thing about this Pokemon and say like, this is the reason that it's so dominant. But it's just a bunch of things. It's just like, it's got a super unique typing with Ghost and Fighting. It's got one of the best fast moves in the game with counter. It's got like somewhat decent, like a decent stat product. You've got that nice Shadow Ball. You have a bait move that can boost, right? There's a bunch just like all things just kind of work for this Pokemon. And it has a great place in this meta right now. Stuff is weak to counter. There's a lot of Mudboys you do neutral against. Shadow Ball is just a hard hitting move against most things. So it's a very strong Pokemon in this meta, and one that's has 100% replaced Medi. Medi was on like 50% of GBL teams I used to play against. It was on 90% of the Go play Pokemon Championship teams. And now Annihilate is the number 1 fighter in this meta by far. Again, this is just a balanced team with a safe swap, Whiscash, Gligar, Umbreon. Don't need to talk about too much. Whiscash weak to Grass, Gligar covers that. Umbreon is your bulky safe swap. And the last one here was, speaking of Scrafty, again, this is funny because if you're going to have Crest weak to Ghost, you might want to cover your Ghost with the dark Pokemon to cover that weakness. Hello, Scrafty. And then so balanced in the back, Quagsire on the lead, because Quagsire I find is generally safe because unless it's a Grass, which you're immediately getting out, probably into Crest, you can almost hang in with almost everything else, because even stuff that resists one move, there's only like a couple Pokemon that both of these, if you're running Aquatail Stone Edge, that both moves are resisted, and those are your like water fighting, where water resisted to water and the rock is resisted on the fighting. So those kind of Pokemon are issues, but like even if you have like a dragon, like you can throw Stone Edge, flyers, you can throw Stone Edge. Like, there's a lot of coverage with Quagsire. So that is it. Okay, hints for the team. I already gave you the one hint on that team number 4. One of these Pokemon. So let me just give you the history if you're new to this channel. If you're not, this may be a little repetitive, but I hit Legend. I didn't hit it in Season 1, did not hit it in Season 2, hit it in Season 3, straight through to last season, where I did not hit it for the first time. And I did a whole, so I hit Legend like 16 straight times. And then I didn't. And I gave a bunch of reasons. Most of them were my fault. But one of the reasons that was my fault was, there's 2 things. One, I was changing teams every like 2 sets, so I couldn't like learn a team and grind with it. And 2, I just could not figure out this meta. Yes, there's a lot of good teams here, and a lot of teams work, but I couldn't just, having switched teams so much, I couldn't just get a rhythm and find a good team that I like to break the Whiscash Skarmory meta that was everywhere last season. I started with the Yips, I called it. I started my rating. I got my yellow at 23 something, like 2300 something. And I played Great League, and I proceeded to drop 200 points. I was down at 2100. I hit Veteran yesterday, 2520-ish now. So I've grinded back 420 yellow, and 380 of that is with this team in a span of 2 days, maybe 2.5 days. So I'm killing it with this team. I don't want to tell you right now because again, the point of getting your viewer submissions is that I'm allowed to grind with the team finally. So I'm going to grind with it a bit more, and I will showcase it sometime this week. So hint number 1, one of the Pokemon is on this list. Hint number 2, one of the Pokemon I always used in the thumbnail. I use it probably the most in thumbnail because it was the greatest to get clicks. Hashtag always a winner. That's the second Pokemon. The third Pokemon. How am I going to give you a hint for the third Pokemon? The third Pokemon is not a mud boy, but ground is a good place to start looking. That's my third person. That's my third one. You can guess in the comments if you want. I'm not going to tell you if you're right. So those are the 3 hints. One on this list. One that I used always a winner in my thumbnails because it gets a lot of clicks, and one, think of a mud boy, but it's not a mud boy. That's a team. That's a team that I've gotten from about 400 points with in like 2.5 days. And I will, I was going to say I will grind with it this week, but for sure I'm going to do Master League Premier at least 1, maybe 2 teams. Again, either Double Dragon. If you watched my video this morning, go check that out. It's either going to be like a Double Dragon type team, or it's going to counter Double Dragon, or it's going to go anti-meta, start with like Metagross, something like that. So I haven't decided yet. I know I'm going to play Master League Premier. I know I saw there's a bunch of other Great League submissions, so I will do I'll do like a couple of premieres from myself, a couple of your Great League submissions, and then we'll go over this team. We'll go over this team like early next week, maybe like Monday or Tuesday. So you can, that's the thing, it's Great League, right? It's open Great League, so it's going to be back, and you can use it later on in the season. So if I can grind with it for a bit, I'll give it to you guys so you can use it for a bit this time around, and then Great League's going to be back like 4 more times this season, so you don't need to worry about not being able to use it. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. Good luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one.